There is so much to chat about today. Welcome to episode 2 of the After Action Report. My name is Shani Zade, and like I mentioned, there's so much stuff to chat about this week. I knew there would be announcements during the duration of the week, but I didn't realize it would be this crazy, so let's jump straight into it. I do want to start off this episode by saying thank you so much for the overwhelming support that I received on the first episode. I also do want to mention that I have a hour's worth of double XP codes, so that's 4 codes up for grabs later on in this episode, so hang around to find out how to win that. And let's jump into chatting about the game. Last episode, I chatted a lot because I obviously wanted to chat about launch week. I wanted to chat about launch weekend. I wanted to chat about how the community reacted to the game. And I didn't really get to dive in deep to a lot of the stuff about the game. But I actually got to chat to one of the scriptwriters, as well as the gentleman who voices Ajax. This is his @ on Twitter. I tweeted out saying how, because obviously Ajax is a South African character, I noticed some of the colloquialisms and the mixing of languages between English and Afrikaans. I commented saying how I was bleaked that they decided to use a mix of English and Afrikaans in a certain phrase where I would have gone full on Afrikaans, and it was actually responded by the voice actor, and he said, no, well, it was recorded both ways and we recorded multiple ways. That was just the final decision that obviously the higher ups decided that this is the final cut that's going into the game. That is how game design works. Well, that's how any form of design works, actually. You put through a whole bunch of stuff, and then it goes through a review process, and then there's a group of people or a handful of people, depending on the size of the production or whatever, that will have the final say or inputs and be like, yes, no, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do that. So that was really cool. Go give him a follow. He has been tweeting a lot of stuff about with regards to hashtag I am Ajax, so that was pretty cool. It was really insightful to get to have a chat. I also know that we all have a love-hate or more hate-hate relationship with Ajax, except if you're playing him, because then you're like, it might just be because I'm South African. So we find a lot more of the phrases kind of funny because it's weird to hear them in game. I don't know. Let me know if you feel the same. I didn't chat about it so much during launch week as I mentioned, but the Black Market was announced and released, as well as the Halloween update, obviously first on PlayStation, which has just gone live. I want to say just, but it went live yesterday for Xbox and PC, so you guys can also carry on working towards your tiers. I have been having issues with my blackouts since the 24th, I want to say. Not everyone in South Africa is having connection issues. I feel there is a select group, but the select group is actually quite big or quite large, because I'll tweet out saying, hey, anyone else having issues with blackouts, and a whole bunch of people are like, yeah, but then someone else will be like, my blackout works fine, but my multiplayer is not working. I don't even go into the staging area beforehand. I literally stand and wait in that menu with it saying searching, expanding search, searching, expanding search, and then after half an hour it'll be like, oh, well, search failed, sorry, lobby can't be found right now. I don't think it's connection related, because we also searched on Bravado Lithium's internet, and we all know that he has a guard line, and didn't work either. So if you're having issues with blackout, please let me know in the comments below. But I'm going to move into, and I'm switching stuff around this week, I'm going to move into chatting about the plays. Starting off the clips this week is Deuce, who has recently just been picked up by Astra, and this basically shows you why he was picked up by Astra. Not only is he really nasty with his SMG, the Sword, which is probably one of the preferred SMGs at the moment, he is going to whip out the Annihilator, as we see there. He is rocking the Seraph loadout, and there's not just 1, but 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's quad feed, there's craziness. It's just amazing. Clearly, that is why the man was picked up by Astra. Excited to see what he can achieve this season if he's playing with Seraph like that. This next clip was submitted by Yasmin. Now, Yasmin, I haven't really seen come onto my radar until now recently, and it's really, really great to see. I don't know if she's a free agent. I don't know if she's looking for a team, but with skills like this, she's currently rocking Recon. I honestly feel this is a little bit of a compilation montage edit together that she put together. That's why the clip jumps a bit. But with skills like this, I feel like someone needs to pick this chick up. Like, oh my goodness, that's amazing. There we see a really nasty triple kill that just happened there, and we'll see. She's actually really cheeky here. I have watched the clip beforehand. I'm sorry, I'm not casting play by play, but there's a really, really cheeky play here where she's running around the corner. She runs out of bullets. Instead of loading, she's gonna challenge, and she's gonna go, and she's gonna be like, okay, it's fine, I'll just punch you. It's fine, because I can. So someone get in touch with this chick, pick her up. I want to be casting her games this year, please. Last week I showed you how Khadi and Enigma had some sniping skills. Well, Keys had some snipes of his own to show off. So currently he was a 4v2 situation, manages to turn it into a 2v2. And as he comes around the corner here, he's going to turn it into a 1v2. I don't know if they clutched the round, but still really insane plays. Then this final clip, just because I wanted to include something from Blackout this week. I'm not going to commentate over it. I just want to give you some background. We were playing Circle. We happened to find ourselves in a really perfect situation where the Circle kept closing in on the house that we happened to be camping in. But in this really high stance, high stress scenario, you can't hear his audio, unfortunately, because his voice wasn't shared at the time. But Keaton decides, who's Bravado Cerberus, decides that it's the perfect time to use that emote.
It's me.
Further collapse expected. Travel to indicated safe zone. Supply drop inbound.
Well, we might as well camp. I'm gonna camp.
I'm bored. Yeah, I'm gonna go home. I'm lost of camping.
Oh my god, you guys left me. Ah!
You act like there's someone that's killing you.
Your bullet's coming back left. Back.
I'm gonna go stream into this house. I mean, in this room quickly, so. Alright, how's it going, guys? This is Abyss. I'm sitting here with Shawnee. But, oh no, she left the room. Never mind.
Johnny's watching out the window.
Just see Keaton running in and out of the room. Don't mind him. Are you... Okay, I'll leave you be. I don't wanna pry. Okay. We have people shooting. East. Northeast, never mind. I like how your gun is straight through the glass. Look at mine. Mine just goes all the way through. Trippy. I feel like... What am I hearing?
You hear that?
Oh my god, he's using his emote.
Keaton, this is a high stress scenario. Not the time for such.
High tension scenario. All I hear is yeah.
Crazy. No, it's not the time.
Further collapse expected.
Oh, is that how you heard personing?
So like I mentioned, I'm going to be giving away an hour's worth of double XP codes. So one code from a monster can will give you 15 minutes. If you want to be eligible, all you need to do is you need to submit clips. All of those details are going to be more explained down in this description below, but I thought that was a cool way to, number one, get you guys to submit clips. Hey, sneaky, but also give back because I have a case of monster and I'm not going to use all of them. So that's a thing. Last and absolutely certainly not least, let's chat about the scene. I mentioned in Monday's video in episode 1 how I had a feeling that there would be a bunch of announcements going live this week. Boy, did CODZA definitely not disappoint me. There are so many announcements that I have to chat about. I have so much stuff written down, so many changes, so much drama. Oh my goodness. Guys, it was a good week for CODZA. All I'm going to say, it was a good week for CODZA on Twitter. Here is an updated graphic. At time of filming, these were all correct, so if anything's changed, please let me know. Let's start off by chatting about Energy Esports, with the new roster being Frost, Mickey, Heroes, who were original Energy Esports teams, then with the addition of Klanko, who is from Vinco, and Sharky, who is from Origin. As you would note, CODZA is no longer in Energy Esports. There was a beautiful tribute created for him in his honor. Not necessarily that his legacy is over, it's more just like an era of the 3 years that he spent with Energy Esports. I will be chatting about that though, and his move to Bravado in a bit. I also mentioned how there were whispers of Astra coming back. Astra have announced their roster that is in the form of Viper, Twist, Nato, Methods, Dues, and Lau. Now, Viper, Twist, and Nato are coming out of retirement. Nato was actually the manager for Energy Esports. Twist hasn't competed in a while. I'm not too sure which title he kind of went into retirement or a bit of a hiatus, but I remember Viper was a sub for Bravado in the beginning of the World War II season, so nice to see him back and on the sticks again. Dues is an exciting one because I mentioned last week I wanted to see what was happening with Dues considering he's moved from High 5. And then Lau, who was recently announced for White Rabbit, has now jumped ship and we see another roster change and he has moved to Astros. Then we had an announcement go live this morning, because I'm filming this on Friday morning, from Evo Esports, who are finally entering the Call of Duty scene. That roster consists of Waffle, Perez, Koala, Saints, and Vexo. Now, Waffle and Perez, as I mentioned with Lau moving to Astra, Waffle and Perez were also on that former White Rabbit roster. So White Rabbit currently only has Sharpie and Hypes left with their initial Black Ops 4 roster announcement. So they're in need of 3 players by the sounds of it. We're going to have to wait and see. Hopefully, at time of filming, I hadn't seen any White Rabbit announcements, but hopefully next week I'll have an update for you with regards to that. Koala, I chatted about last week saying that he had been very quiet. He's been picked up by Evo, which is exciting to see. I'm glad to see that he hasn't just taken the season off, which I was worried about considering how quiet he had been on socials. Vexo, former High 5 player. Then Saints is... This is a weird one for me because I could be mistaken in thinking it's the same person, but then again, I can't exactly put anything past CODZA to have duplicate handles. But Gamma announced a roster earlier this week that included Saints, and now Saints has just been announced for Evo Esports. So if that's the same person, then Gamma is one person down. If it's not the same person, then that is the second duplicate handle that Gamma has under their roster. And what I say by that with regards to names is that Gamma also announced a Ruthless player, and I was like, oh hey, is that Ruthie, also known as Ruthless playing for Ladin? And I was like, hey, is it at Ruthless? And they were like, no, it's not. And I was like, that's gonna make casting hella difficult this year if Ruthless and Ruthless are playing against one another. And now if Saints is not the same person, then it's gonna be Saints and Ruthless, and that's just great. We haven't heard anything from Vinco just yet, but considering that Hypes and Clanko no longer play for Vinco, there's probably a shuffle coming in. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything. But we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Then finally, of course, the roster that everyone wanted me to chat about last week. The new Bravado roster includes Bravado, Lithium, Inferno, Cerberus, Rahil, as well as with the introduction of CODZA moving from Energy Esports. What was cool about their announcement and why I've left it till last is they did kind of like a very Vision-esque type vibe. So Optic Gaming do this whole Vision series where it talks about all of the esports and all of the titles that they're currently competing in, and they announce roster changes, and it's usually also dramatic and like, oh my gosh. So it's nice to see that Bravado is jumping into the content train with that. Now, instead of me chatting about my feels and my thoughts about this roster, I actually got to sit down and have a chat with Lithium, Cerberus, Rahil, as well as CODZA. Inferno couldn't join us due to scheduling issues, but I actually got to sit down and have a chat with them and ask them some questions ahead of this season. Here is a snippet into the interview/chat that I had with the Bravado boys, and I will see you guys again in the outro.
Firstly, Rob, I want to congratulate you for being picked up by Bravado. Once the World War II season ended, considering that Energy didn't play at Comic-Con, did you know after Metal State already that you wanted to leave? Not necessarily get picked up by Bravado, but did you know that you were going to start exploring options?
There was no other option besides Bravado. I wouldn't say that I was looking for options at all. It's just the fact that my vision and Bravado's vision are the same, and they can more appropriately provide what we want, and so that's why I went for it.
Then to the Bravado players. So once 5v5 was announced, was there kind of a team discussion? Was there any other options that you wanted to explore? Or was, as soon as the announcement dropped, did you know that Rob was going to be the person you were going to pursue?
Obviously we would have needed a new player, but when it comes to options as well for players, you know, we need to obviously have an over 18 team, so there wasn't many options as is, and Rob is obviously like the best option by far for over 18.
Yeah.
So it was stupid not to obviously go for him.
5v5 got announced, I immediately just said to Dylan, we need to get Robbie. He's like the only option. There was no other people for me in mind, like besides Robbie. Literally not a single person.
Rahil, you and I haven't played any Black Ops 4 yet. I'm kind of sad about it. I've played against you and it was horrible because your aim is on some other level. I know there's a lot of controversy at the moment, or up in the air things about which operators are going to be allowed in or out of comp. Who are you currently preferring, regardless of who's going to be involved in comp or not? Which operators are you currently enjoying? Which specialists are you running and like grinding?
Well, it all depends on the role you're gonna play. I think I'm gonna be playing Anchor, so I mostly use Seraph because of the Spawn Beacon and the Annihilator Pistol. So it's like depends on your role.
Then to open up that question, who do you think is not going to be allowed in comp, and who do you hope is allowed, even though it's kind of a little bit of a controversy?
That non-bangs in comp, I'm literally running back to energy.
I wonder if there's like anything in comp. Like, is it gonna even be specialist?
Yeah, I hope there isn't specialists. It brings such a I think like a stupid, strategic thing to the game. Yeah, I don't want to try break a heal that has a right shield with a guardian and then barbed wire on the other entrance. Like, it's not my ideal Call of Duty.
If they do allow specialists, I hope they just fine-tune them for comp. Like, maybe make them once off per game, or make them super weak to bullet damage, anything.
Rob, what are your? Because I know that you had you were saying how you worked with Energy before you left them. I know there was a lot of admin that needs to be done, which we don't have to go into. But what are your feelings on the Energy roster as it stands now? I know that there's a huge rivalry amongst the top 3 teams based off of how last season's standings went between Energy, Bravado, and then Vinco. What are your feels towards the Energy roster as it stands?
Well, the thing is, obviously I still love the guys in Energy, so that's why I was...
Oh, of course, no bad feels.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to... I was working one-on-one with Caden. I didn't give that much input because I feel like we all knew what was going to happen with their pickups. But I wanted to, make sure, they had the right choices. Me being, the RGL and, the person who, controlled the game. So I feel like they needed someone, and that's why I worked with Caden, because I feel like he's the best fit for when I leave. So then we were discussing the options, but I see that Planker was obviously the first choice. Even for me, if I had to create a team, he would probably be my first choice.
Then to the former Astra members, which Astra kind of, I don't want to say made you guys who you were before you moved to Bravado, but obviously Astra 2.0 has now been announced. It's a good roster on paper. I know some of the players haven't necessarily played a lot recently in recent CODs, so what are the feels, knowing that you've left such a legacy with the Astra roster, how do you feel about them coming back?
I hope you know you're talking to me because I was in Astra for a week. So.
I'm kind of against it, just because it only contains one of the core, members from what Astra was, and we kind of made Astra what it was as it made us, Astra was Astra was quite small before we started getting major wins, kind of thing.
So what was the most dominant season for Astra, if I remember correctly?
Advanced Warfare,
Advanced Warfare, yes.
By far.
Ultimate the ball was undeniable, you couldn't touch him.
Dylan, anything to add to that, given that you're also an Astra?
I obviously feel like if they play and they actually grind, they will be good, yeah. But I think they do have a good team. For me, it's a team that has a lot of experience and knowledge, but their skill needs to be developed. That comes with playing, though. Like I said, that's why I agree. Obviously, the more you play, the better you get.
Then I want to end off, because obviously we don't have a rule set yet. This is all mainly speculation. Rahil, I'm gonna start with you. How are you expecting the rotations, the competitive rotations to work? Or what are you hoping happens? Is it going to be control? What are they doing?
I think control is going to be the new game mode. I think it's going to be hardpoint, S&D, control, hardpoint, S&D.
Yep,
I think that's the agreement across the board.
Yeah.
That has been the video for this week. I want to thank you so much again for all of the support that episode 1 received. I know it's a little bit of a longer one this week, but I had to include a whole bunch of things, and there's just so much more to chat about. Remember that I am going to be giving away an hour's worth of double XP. Make sure that you are submitting your clips for the next week using either hashtag #AfterActionReportZA or using the email in the description below, because we transfer Dropbox quality. I don't know, it's just easier, but if you don't have access to that, that's okay. It's fine. But I'm going to be leaving this one here. Thank you so much once again for all of the support. As always, if you guys enjoyed the video and you're excited for the series, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I hope that you're playing either as close to 0 ping as possible or able to get into Blackout games. Either or. I will take playing on 200 ping if I can get into a Blackout game. Actually, no, that'll be horrible. But I just want to play Blackout again, man. That's all I want to do. But anyway, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.